Crates are all over society with dogs. I'd like to start by saying that in Sweden, crates are illegal, which is interesting and gives you something to think about. I also want to just bring up food for thought. If you go to the zoo and you saw the elephant living in a cage, not much bigger than the elephant, you would be appalled. If you went to your friend's house and her daughter had a guinea pig and the guinea pig's cage was just not much bigger than the guinea pig, you would feel so sad for the guinea pig. Even a goldfish living in a bowl this big would really hurt our hearts. So why is it okay to go away for a few hours and leave your dog in a little space where they can only just turn around? Because I know for me, if I was in a space like that, I would certainly be losing my mind. What about you, Judy?
Well, absolutely. And back to the zoo idea, it used to be that zoo animals were in little tiny cages. And through the years, we've learned more about animal welfare, and it's not acceptable anymore. So, for the welfare of the animal, the safety, the health, the welfare, and the emotional well-being, they have increased their environment, and they found that the animals are healthier and the animals are safer and they're much easier to work with. So, like the zoo animals, dogs do deserve better welfare and they deserve better treatment. So why are we locking them in little bitty cages that they can't hardly even move around in?
Exactly. Some things that have become traditional long ago, like lab dogs, which now we're all appalled at the thought of going back studies, people, names we know well that are in the history books. Now we know better, so we should be doing better for not just the zoo animals, not just the guinea pigs, which we are doing better for them, but for our dogs as well.
Well, and
You know?
to make things worse, a lot of people will put those dividers in their crates so their dogs are even in a smaller environment, thinking that it's going to help with house training. In all honesty, at a young puppy's age, their brains are not developed enough and their kidneys are not developed enough to communicate with each other. So whether they're in a crate, whether they're outside, whether they're alongside of you, they don't really know when they need to go potty. So they don't know that pottying in a crate is a bad thing. It's just not a great avenue for house training.
Right. So if you're worried about your puppy chewing up your things or your couch, the first thing is always keep things out of reach, of course. You can use a pen. A pen has room, there's toys, there's a nice comfy bed. Depending on the setup of your home, you could put a gate up for the puppy to hang out in the kitchen as well with a nice comfy bed and toys, etc., and some things to do. But let's really think about the fact that we would go nuts in a little space.
And the other thing is dogs need to move for development, for growth, just for their emotional well-being, as I said earlier. But they need to be able to move. And if you were to videotape a dog in a day-to-day activity, you're going to see sometimes they're going to lay on your hardwood floor. Sometimes they're going to lay on a rug. Sometimes their bed. They need to be able to move that body and they need to get that blood flowing and they need to make themselves comfortable. And comfort
Beautiful.
is not always
Right.
found in a little confined space.
Right. If you're trying to get comfortable, you can't get comfortable if you can't move.
Break real quick and remind everybody to like, subscribe, and share our videos. And if there are any ideas that you would like to hear us talk about, leave it down in the comments. We would love to hear from you. But back to crate training. When would you use a crate, Debbie? And I'll tell you when I would use one. I would use one in the car.
Sure, sure. I actually, in the car, I like those nice seats that you can get now, and there's a little
Yep.
seat belt that attaches to the harness and goes right into your, clicker. I
Right.
don't know what it's called where you hook your
Belt
seat.
clip. Yeah.
Right,
And
right.
I'll link some of those below in the description so y'all can see them and know where to purchase those. So I like those as well. Those are great because the dog is comfortable. They're able to see out the window and they're safe. So the big argument that we hear quite frequently about dogs in crates is what if there's an emergency situation and you have to go to a shelter of a flood or a tornado or a hurricane or something? Or what if your dog has to spend the night at the vet? So I'm going to give you these two scenarios. First of all, dogs should learn that it's okay to be in a crate. They should feel comfortable knowing what a crate is. That does not mean that you use it every day. That means you teach them what it's all about and leave it at that. In a situation where there's an emergency, your dog will be just fine in the crate as long as they know what the crate is. And in the vet situation as well, your dog will be comfortable in the crate. 9 times out of 10, if your dog's going to have to stay at the vet, your dog is sick enough to have to be watched. And
And
so,
sedated.
and sedated, they're probably going to be sedated. But dogs do understand situations and they do quite well in those particular situations. So, yeah, you can teach them about crates, but that doesn't mean you should be using them on a consistent basis. It's just not necessary.
If it doesn't feel right to you, it's not. You know, um, I don't know why I'm blooping out today. Bloop, 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 bloop.